I just saw the film Troll. No, not that film, Troll. No, not that film, Trolls with an S. Which isn't some kind of Aliens with an S sequel to Troll. That's Troll 2. Which also isn't really a sequel. It's just a film called Troll 2. This isn't really the video to get into that. Or is it? No! What am I doing? We don't have time to go down that rabbit hole. Let's talk about the film that I watched today. Troll. 2022's Troll. So Troll is a big old monster movie about a troll. It's, spoilers, there's a troll in it. It's a big old troll and he's all like, "Rawr, I'm a troll and I've got some kind of motivation," which I won't spoil here, but he's got some kind of motivation, he's got some kind of characterization, and all the characters, all the human people are like, oh my lord, that's a troll. We better deal with that troll. And we've got two sides of the human kind of, situation on the spectrum of humans in this film, and it's pretty much like every film you've seen. Like a Shin Godzilla, like a Godzilla, like a, I don't know, like every single monster movie you've seen. We've got the scientists, and we've got the military. And then there's like the politicians that are kind of like above, and they usually just kind of fall towards that military side. But they're like, "You scientists, you stupid nerds, we don't care how this big monster is, and we don't care what it eats and, its feelings and all that. You shut up, you stupid scientists. Military man, shoot it in the face." And then the military like shoots it in the face, and they're like, that didn't work. We said that would work, but it hasn't worked. What do we do now, Madam President? In this case, Madam Prime Minister. And she's like, "Shoot it again with a bigger gun." And they're like, "We literally don't have a bigger gun." She's like, oh dear. And then the scientists, they're like, "Maybe we've got an idea." And then, maybe that works, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. You've seen a movie before with a monster in it. You've seen this film. But despite it feeling slightly derivative and some of the characterization of characters feeling a bit like, yeah, well, I've seen that before, and some of the plot points and, the structure of the film being a big monster movie kind of thing, I feel like I've seen it all before, but not for a single second of this film was I bored. Was I like looking at my phone? And I'm at home watching it. I can look at my phone the whole time. I mean, I couldn't because I'd grab my phone out and then I'd suddenly realize that like I'm not hearing them because it's in Norwegian and I'd have to read the subtitles. So like I'd be playing Clash Royale, but then I'd have to be looking up like, so I couldn't look at my phone. Not that I tried, not that this happened. I just subtitle films, they really make you work for it, don't they? No, I'm kidding. It didn't even occur to me to get out my phone. It might have occurred to me once or twice. But that's not a slight on the film, not at all. If anything, like the first 20-30 minutes of this film, I kept thinking, I wish they'd released this in cinemas. I don't want this to be a Netflix film that I can sit and watch on my, I've got a big, nice TV, the lights were off, it was all cinematic and stuff. I'd already prepared my water and a bit of candy on the floor next to my couch in case I was hungry, so I was not going to get up and be disturbed. I was prepared like a cinema. But man, seeing this in the cinemas, I kind of would have liked that because it has that kind of vibe and that epic feeling like the most recent Godzilla or Kong or Godzilla vs. Kong. Although, unlike all of those films, like literally every single one of those films, I think maybe the spectacle, and I just love Godzilla. I especially love King Kong. So there are moments in those films with the spectacle and the awe and the visual effects that I think are better in those films. And there are moments in this film that feel really oddly derivative of those films. But this film, what this film does way, way better is the characters. Something that I feel is lacking in modern big blockbuster Hollywood, westernized big monster movies is the characters. Like I get so frustrated when we spend, 60 to 70% of the film with these characters where there are no monsters on screen and we're building that hype, that anticipation of what we're going to see and all the character, the interactions between characters and their relationships and all those, little, quirks and things that these characters, have and do throughout the film always feel lacking. They feel cliche. They feel unimaginative and just boring. This film, not so much. I really, really enjoyed the characters in this film. Just like in Gary Edwards' 2014 Godzilla, we have a father and child dynamic. In this film, it's a father and daughter dynamic. And in this film, it sings. It's the beating heart of this film. And their characterization, dynamic, and kind of their relationship between each other is fascinating, interesting, heartbreaking, a little bit melancholy, other big words to make you feel feelings. It's an utter delight. And that is kind of the center of the film in that emotional sense, especially for the first 2/3 before it kind of gets all big and there's a big troll running about and we've got to do a big thing. It falls a little bit into that third act kind of thingy at the end, but there are enough kind of twists and turns and kind of reveals and revelations and all that fun stuff that I was actually kind of shocked and surprised by. And there were a few kind of just moments towards the end where I went, oh, cool. So we're not just doing the big third act monster movie thing like we are, but we're doing a bit of a Rian Johnson. We're subverting expectations. Unless you don't like when he does that, and then they're doing that but good. So forget I said his name. I should never invoke his name. I feel like it's just 50-50. You either go, yes, like Rian Johnson, or you go, how dare you say his name to me? Last Jedi still makes me cry at night. I haven't done a cheeky googs to double check if this is like accurate, but I feel like because of the way the film is kind of presenting it in the film and the fact that this is a Norwegian film and the fact that I am in fact not Norwegian and Australian, a dumb, stupid Australian man, I just have to kind of presume. But the whole film kind of plays off this like kind of idea of their fairy tales, their fairy tale stories of trolls in Norway, and the Norwegian kind of folk tales and all that stuff, and the way that plays into people's expectations of what this creature may or may not be, or if this creature may or may not exist. Like the first 45 minutes plays really heavily into this kind of idea of mythology and what people do or don't believe, and not even the first half, really for the whole film, is like a centerpiece of the ideas, and like it's the differences of like the politicians, the military, the folklorian people or whatever, and the scientists, and all these different ideas of what this creature could be. Spoilers, it's probably a troll. And I'm only saying that because the film in fact is called Troll, but maybe this is a troll. You know, I'm doing a troll, like an internet troll, because the film Troll is actually itself an internet troll, because the film isn't even about a troll. But maybe it just is about a troll. I'm not here to say this is a spoiler-free review, so I couldn't possibly divulge such crucial information. Although the thumbnail I'm going to use is probably the poster they've released, in which there is a troll. Maybe it's an internet troll. It just looks different than what we are used to seeing. I wouldn't want to spoil anything here. That's all I'm saying. Who knows what the film is about? It's about a troll. It's about a troll. It's a big troll. It's like a King Kong sized troll. Or is it? It is. It is 100% about a troll. Is it? The action sequences on a whole, they're pretty great, but I think the film really works with its characters, and its characters kind of dealing with this situation, the politicians, the scientists, the military, them all kind of being involved with each other, the back and forths with all of those kind of different kind of, ideologies, and the way they see this situation occurring is really interesting. The action itself is fine. Some of it is better than others, but I feel like every single scene, like there's one scene where they're in a car doing a thing and I'm like, oh, that reminds me of that other film when they're in the car doing that thing. Oh, there's a bit with some helicopters. And I'm like, oh, it's like that other film with helicopters, but this time it's science helicopters. But it kind of feels like it's just the same. They're just like, but this is a science thing. And you're like, well, I guess. There's also a scene towards the end that reminded me of another film that I never thought would remind me of. But then I'm like, oh, but and I can't really say what these films are because I would just be spoiling everything. But you'll get to that scene and you'll be like, that's the scene from that other thing, that other big, very, very famous popular movie that is, I like it. People don't really like it, but I liked it, and I was like, but that's the same as that. But also you're dealing with that subject matter. So what can you do? Despite saying all of that, I don't want to sound like I had a negative time at all. I actually had an absolute blast watching this film. There's just like a point in cinema where you just get to a point where you're like, it's like when you watch a new superhero film and you're like, sometimes it just irks you more where you go, oh, but I've seen like all those elements. And then sometimes you just don't even realize you've seen all those elements and it just washes over you with the magic of cinema. And then sometimes, because things feel so related to other things and maybe you've seen those things more recently, even if they'd come out years ago, you just go, oh, but A is that, and that is that, and that is that. But overall, the film itself, it's really, really fun. I absolutely loved it. Go check it out. And if you've checked it out, it was good. True. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment below. I'd love to know what everyone thought of Troll.